Hey! Today I wanted to talk about something that I've been struggling with, or still am struggling with, and that's excessive sweating, or hyperhidrosis as it's called. I didn't know that this was a condition with a name up until like a couple of years ago when I was googling excessive sweating, because I thought I was alone in this world with this problem. But when I googled it, I could see that it was a few but very brave people out there talking about their condition, and I was so relieved when I saw that I wasn't alone in this. And yeah, I kind of want to be that person for someone else out there and say, hey, here am I with this problem and you are not alone. And also, I want to do this video because I am sick and tired of this condition controlling my life. It's been so many opportunities or like social settings that I've been avoiding and said no thanks when people invite me to things just because of this problem. And I'm so tired of it. I just wanna own up to it and be like proud of who I am and realize that I can't change it. And just life is too short to to be afraid and scared of things, and also what people is gonna think of me, because people's gonna have an opinion about me, even like with or without sweaty palms. So it's nothing I can do about it. So if you don't know what hyperhidrosis is, it's a condition where you sweat more than normal, or like, of course it's normal to sweat when you're working out or are nervous, but if you have hyperhidrosis, you sweat even though you're doing nothing. You can just sit down and be very relaxed and you can start to sweat. And some people sweat just mildly, like mildly hyperhidrosis, and some people have really excessive sweating. It can literally like drip with sweat, and also it could be wherever on the body. Some people have it like in their face, and some people have it on their back or stomach or legs. My like problem areas where I feel most, where I sweat the most from is like my palms and the soles of my feet and also my underarms. And yeah, I never talked about this with anyone before except for my like immediate family, so it's a bit nerve-wracking, but I think it's a good thing that I'm opening up and being honest about things I'm struggling with, both for my own sake and also maybe if there's someone out there that I can say, hey, I'm in this club, sweaty club as well, and here's a sweaty high five. But I mean, I'm not sweating all the time. Sometimes it can be completely dry, and it's not really something that's triggering. Or it could be like if I'm in a stressful situation, it could be like triggering and I will sweat more. But also if I'm just watching a movie with my sisters and being completely relaxed, I can feel like, okay, my feet are sweaty, or my armpits or my hands. But also when I'm like working out or when it's super hot outside, it's normal to sweat then, but I feel like I'm sweating more than the normal person would do. Yeah, I think I'm guessing I had this my whole life, but when I was, a kid, I didn't think about it because I was a kid and you don't think about if you're sweating or not. But when I was like in my early teenage years, I can remember that I thought about like, okay, I'm sweating, but I didn't think of it that much because I thought it was normal. Like, it's a part of being a teenager and like with hormones and like being a very anxious teen. But I can clearly remember when I was like 14 or something, or like in 9th grade. And with PE you need to do like the couples dance, and I remember like the day before that I was walking home with a friend, and I said to her like, oh, I'm so nervous about tomorrow because we need to hold hands with the boys, and I'm gonna sweat, my hand's gonna be like super sweaty. And she said like, what? I don't have the problem. And I kind of realized like, am I the only one experiencing this? Maybe it's not normal. And I remember that I asked my mom to help me with this, so we bought like an antiperspirant. I don't know what's the name of it is in English, but in Sweden it's called Absolut Torr, and it made my hands like very, very dry, but at the same time it didn't keep away the sweat, so it's like a weird feeling of like very dry hands mixed with like a bit of sweat. Oh, it was awful, and I was mortified. I thought it was the most horrible thing ever. And yeah, I mean, when I could avoid social settings, I would. If people invited me to places, I was like, oh no, I can't do that, or you know, I have other plans or whatever. So I missed out on a lot, things that I really wanted to do but didn't have the courage because I was afraid people would see or feel my sweaty hands or feet or armpits or whatever. But also like when you have to be in social settings, like in school, I mean, you have to be there. So I remember I was always, you know, hiding my hands, like sitting on them, or, you know, sitting like this. And, you know, this comes off as like I was very cold, like a cold person, which I'm not. I'm just like very insecure about like my sweaty hands. And also I became like an expert on like what clothing to wear, because I became very aware of like materials and colors, so my sweat wouldn't show up, or like trousers that I could like wipe my hands off, you know, on. So I'm guessing if you have hyperhidrosis and watching this, you know how it is, and you know how you become like an expert on finding ways to hide your sweaty whatever part of the body it is. But yeah, it's been multiple occasions in my life that it's been so hard, you know, like the different jobs I've had, like working with kids. I mean, kids want to hold my hands, and it's so sweet and cute, and I want to hold their hands, but I'm so afraid of them going and saying like, oh, why are your hands so wet? And coming up with some ridiculous excuse, being like, oh, I was just in the bathroom washing my hands. Or if it was like snow outside, I would like, oh, I was just, you know, playing with the snow and rolling a snowball or whatever. It's insane, and it's kind of sad that this condition has, you know, taken over my life this much. And also I was working at the airport. I thought that would be a good place to work in, because yeah, you don't really have to touch people in that sense, but of course I had to, you know, handle passports, paper, like, you know, the boarding passes and everything, the boarding cards. Just like touching paper and like sticking everywhere, leaving like sweat marks, and that wasn't even the worst part. I had this colleague, and he was very like touchy, you know, like he wanted to do like high fives and like handshakes and, you know, like that. And just in my mind thinking about, oh my gosh, he's gonna come here and he's gonna wanna, you know, do a high five or whatever, made me sweat more because I was nervous about it. So it didn't really help. So yeah, I've been just trying to avoid social settings where people might take my hands or see my, you know, if I take off my shoes and my socks are a bit wet or whatever. Yeah, it's been hard, but I feel like it's time to stop worrying about what other people gonna think about me, because a part of me is like, maybe this whole thing is more in my head than it's actual in reality, because in my head I'm afraid of, you know, rejection. But if I think about it logically, like, would people actually stop being my friend just because I have sweaty hands or feet or armpits? Hopefully no. Hopefully they are with, you know, hang out with me because my personality, not because, you know, if I'm a bit more like moist or like my hands are a bit wet. And if there would be any people who say, oh, I don't want to be friends with you because of this or whatever, like, ew, it's their loss. I mean, they don't have to be in my life. So I feel like just life is too short to saying no to things I'm passionate about and do things I want to do. I just want to admit this for myself and say, this is me. I can't do anything about it, and I'm just gonna do the things I love to do and don't care about other people and what they think. And I mean, it could be worse. I'm not saying like minimizing this problem, because it is a really hard problem to live with, but it could be worse things that could happen to you. I mean, only for me, I mean, I have had cancer and had to battle that, and of course that's worse and harder to battle than sweaty hands. So sometimes I feel a bit embarrassed, you know, complaining about my sweaty hands when I've been through something even worse. But you shouldn't compare, you know, different struggles in life just because, you know, it could be worse things than having sweaty hands. But I know it's hard. And some people actually, I've read the comments on some videos, and some people actually have been thinking about taking their own life just because of this. Please don't. You're not alone in this. There are so many people having this condition. I think I heard somewhere it's like 5% of the population having this problem, so we're not alone. There's more people out there with this problem, and it's not the end of the world. But I mean, there is things you can do about it. I've only tried that antiperspirant, but I've heard there is other things you can do, is some sort of you have electricity with water, like holding your hands or feet in there. I don't know the name of it. If I can find it, I will put it somewhere. But I also heard there is some sort of like operation. I would not recommend that. That sounds too dangerous, like scary for me. And I also heard about people doing like Botox, but also that could be very expensive, and, you know, needles. I'm very afraid of needles myself, but yeah, there is things you can do about it. But I would just recommend trying to realize that there's nothing you can do about it. It's nothing wrong with you having this, and maybe it's a bit different, but it's not really a dangerous thing. I mean, it's not even gross, I don't think, because for some people have like problem with body odor and like having their sweat smell. I'm really lucky because I don't have the problem with smelling, like my sweat don't smell, it's just wet. And I have never had to use deodorant before, but yeah, I just wanted to say you're not alone. And if you are in the same boat as me, please let me know in the comments below, so we can give each other some love and encourage each other and give each other some tips and tricks how to live with this as painless as possible. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Hej då!